Hello there, Dan Michalk here with Waterway Wealth Management. Glad to have Dan Trgovich with us today. We're going to do a little get-to-know session, so thanks for joining us today.
It's great to be here, Dan.
All right, so started with Waterway, most recent employee, started about a month ago, and immediately the market goes down, so timing is very interesting.
Nothing like baptism by fire.
Yes, we've been doing a lot of trading in your first 4 or 5 weeks here, but tell us a little bit about your background and a little bit how you got to Waterway.
Yeah, so I grew up in Indiana, and I spent most of my professional career in Kansas City, Missouri, and most of my career has been in investment management. And I'm used to the volatility because I got started in 2009, a couple months before the market ultimately bottomed. So hopefully we're on that trajectory here with this market volatility. And I spent most of my career with a mid-sized publicly traded bank in Kansas City, where I was responsible for asset allocation, so deciding, what's the mix of large caps, small caps, international, and client portfolios, as well as I managed a couple of the internal equity strategies where we picked, stocks, about 40 to 60 stocks in each of those strategies, both on the growth side and on the income side. So spent, a long time doing that, about 10 years. And then I made a move to a wealth management firm where decided to take on a new challenge and build out an investment team. So I hired traders, portfolio managers, and research analysts. And it was a different experience because, not only did you have to pick stocks and asset classes and stay in tune with what the market was doing, but you had to manage people, which is a little bit different. But it was a good challenge, and I enjoyed doing that. And then this opportunity came up with Waterway, and a little bit about my family. Let me backtrack.
Yep.
So my now wife is from Brazil. She came to the United States in 2011, and we met in 2013. She was living in Cypress, Texas, between 2013 and 2016. And so I was doing a lot of back and forth between Kansas City and Cypress. And in 2016, we got married in the Woodlands.
Oh, that's crazy.
It is crazy. And I told her at the time, she's always wanted to live, her sister lives here, and she's always wanted to live close to her sister. And I made her a promise. I said, I will move to Texas, to Houston, if and only if it's in the Woodlands, because I don't like the heat and I don't like traffic. But I do really enjoy and love the Woodlands area. And so this opportunity came up earlier this year. And it's been a blast so far, and I'm looking forward to continuing to get to know clients and to navigate this volatility.
Yeah, it's been amazing to watch. So, personally, I also was born in Indiana, so I'm a Hoosier. And then when we started interviewing you and you said, well, actually, we got married in the Woodlands, and actually the fountains there, I remember taking my, at that time wasn't your wife, but I remember being down at those fountains in 2016, was it? So it's like how those paths crossed is pretty amazing.
It really is.
I never would have thought it.
I never thought it was going to happen.
Yeah. So, well, tell us a little bit about maybe, personal stuff. What do you like to do when you're not working, checking out stocks and doing analysis? What do you like to do outside of work?
That consumes a lot of time. My mind's always thinking about the markets and how we can position and take advantage of volatility. But outside of that, it's a lot about spending time with the family. I do have 2 young daughters. Have a 4-year-old, Sophia, and then I have a 10-month-old, Sarah. So spending a lot of time with them and my wife, and that takes up a lot of time, and it's a lot of fun. But that's number one. And then I also enjoy sports. Grew up playing hockey my whole life, as well as basketball. Played a year in college basketball. So I enjoy watching, playing baseball, football, every sport I enjoy.
So you're a true Hoosier, playing basketball at the collegiate level.
I am.
That's awesome. So how does that translate when you think about competitive sports and then our world of being in the investment, the investment landscape being so competitive? How does that translate?
I think it's very similar. And that's what got me interested into the business back in 2007, 2008, where I had a hedge fund manager that was teaching a Principles of Finance course. And I remember him talking about the competitive nature of the markets and how you're competing against not only a benchmark, but your peers. And there's a great feedback loop because you can see every day how you're doing in relation to the market.
Yep.
And so having a goal, hey, we're going to beat the market, beat our peers, and then working to achieve those goals. I think it's very similar to sports where you practice, you put in the work, and then you go out and you play the game and you see if you win or lose. So I think it's one of the few careers that is set up that way.
Yeah.
And so that's what I enjoy most about it. And it's something, there's curiosity. Like you have to be curious about the markets and how things are going to unfold. And you're always learning.
Yeah.
There's always something new that you don't expect going into the year that you have to get up to speed on, that you have to learn what the impact to the market's going to be. And you have to be a student of history.
Yep.
Because a lot of things they don't happen exactly the same way, but they're similar.
Yep.
And you have to study history and how the markets respond to certain events. I think that, to me, that's fascinating.
Yeah. I almost say the more you know, the more you feel like you don't know. Right? You never have it figured out. In my 30 years, I still think there's a lot to learn about the investment landscape because you have to be right on the prediction, but then you also have to be right on the market's response to that event. And that second order is hard to get.
It's very challenging. It's very challenging. It's something that, it's you're never going to be perfect at it, but if you can have a pretty good batting average, we can get good results for clients.
Yeah. So just in the short time you're here, I know you've seen a lot of differences between the way maybe a big institution like a bank moves and the way an RIA can move during market events. You want to maybe explain that a little bit, what you've seen, the difference in 4 weeks?
I think it's a key difference, and I think it's a big advantage to our firm is that we can move quick. And what I've noticed over the years, the market moves so fast that an opportunity can come about within a couple weeks and then it can be gone.
Yep.
And a good example here is we were talking last week about Apple trading at 20 times earnings, which is the lowest it's been in 3 to 4 years. And I look yesterday and now it's back at 25 times earnings.
Yeah,
it's moved a lot in a couple of days. So the market moves so fast and you have to be structured to take advantage of that. So the one thing I've noticed is how quick we can make and execute on decisions. We could execute within a day.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas a bigger bank, it can take 3 to 6 months to get a group of people to agree on what to do.
Yeah.
And where to take things.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big advantage that we have.
Yeah. We're fortunate. We can be nimble, small group of team, small team that everybody pulls together when we're in a market event like this. And you've been thrown right into the fire as you started. So last question. So are you a growth or value guy?
So I don't like either the growth or value classification. I am a value guy, but a lot of times you can find value in growth companies.
Yep.
And I always think you need to, when you buy an asset class or a stock, you have to think that it's undervalued in order to buy it.
Yep. And
like I said, I think that can be located within the growth part of the market. I think you can tend to find a lot of value there. So that's my answer.
I had to try to pin you down. All right, so we're going to close with a couple of rapid fire questions. So these are quick. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Summer or winter?
Winter.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Beach or mountain?
Beach.
Pizza or burger?
Pizza.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Morning person, night owl?
Night owl.
Cake or pie?
Cake.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
There you go. Good answer. Last one. Formal attire or casual night out?
Casual night out.
You got to with kids. Thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.